Now, millions of Australians are doing it tough out there at the moment. Rents are up, power bills are up, insurance costs are up, the list goes on. But for those with a mortgage, the core concern is rising interest rates. And judging by the latest inflation and retail spending data, it's likely that next Tuesday, Reserve Bank Governor Michele Bullock will hike again, which will no doubt make Christmas a lot harder for families right across the country. Joining me to discuss this and more is business columnist at the Herald Sun, Terry McCrann. Terry, welcome to the program. What's your prediction? Will we have a Melbourne Cup rate hike?
Can I start with the Thursday prediction, which is the US Fed meets to make its decision on interest rates? We'll get the decision Thursday morning. I think that might provide some sort of a pointer to what the Reserve Bank does, because I think ultimately the Fed will say there's so much uncertainty created by the events in the Middle East, this is probably not a good time to shock Americans with another rate hike. And I think that might be a cue to the Reserve Bank as well, that I think the Reserve Bank should not hike, even before the Middle East. I'm out on a limb on that front. Most people think the hike is locked in. But
because of the inflation.
Because of the inflation figures,
yeah,
obviously. But I think this is not a good time to... We don't need a hike. I mean, as you've indicated, there's a lot of pain out there. People are suffering. A hike will really add to that, obviously. We don't need it now. The Reserve Bank can take the time to really look at what happens through Christmas, how the Middle East plays out in economic and financial terms. You know, I'm not going to comment on the geopolitical and the human terms, but there's no need to rush to a rate hike on Cup Day. So I think the Reserve Bank should not hike. However, Jim Chalmers has thrown his spade in, and I don't think that was very helpful at all.
Why does he keep doing this?
Well,
it's
because
unwise.
I think he was trying to heavy Michele Bullock into not hiking. And so there's a bit of a problem now that if she doesn't hike, she'll be seen to be kowtowing to instructions from the Treasurer.
Especially when the market and many economists are expecting a hike.
Yeah. So
it will be seen that way. I don't know why he feels the need to publicly state anything that could be perceived as putting pressure on him. But some of this data does seem to be counterintuitive. I mean, we do know people are hurting, rates are already biting. So why do we have retail spending data going up? How is that?
You've got to be careful about over-interpreting those retail sales, Rita, that month to month they can jump about. When I walk down high streets, I see a lot of empty shops still.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of spending taking place in hospitality, but in terms of Harvey Norman, the core retail of hard goods and clothing, I think that they're not exactly booming. So again, it plays into my argument that you really don't need to rush to a rate hike. It's not like we're standing on the edge of an inflation volcano. Unless the Reserve Bank does something on Tuesday, all hell will break loose on the inflation front.
Now, what's the latest on the critical minerals front? Over the last few weeks, we've had mining billionaire Gina Rinehart backing several Australian lithium mining companies. The United States, along with the Commonwealth Government, is assisting the development of several of Australia's critical mineral projects. This seems to be the start of a new mining boom.
Well, let me say, thank goodness for Gina, Rita, because she's the person that's got an interest in investing in these spaces. She's got the money to do so. And do we really want all the investment coming from China and or the US? We don't want to have their feet on our critical minerals throat.
Yeah.
Lovely to see Gina going there. I give her a big tick and hope she succeeds.